Welcome everyone, we have Brad Seaman, our CEO, with us today for another CEO Chat. Welcome Brad.
Thanks.
It's been a really productive year here at Ikon in 2018. Tell us a little bit about the accomplishments.
Yeah, it's been a big year. So we've started delivery of our bachelor's programs in Sydney, which is really exciting. And enrolments are going really well for next year into those programs. So we're looking forward to building and strengthening our presence in Sydney. We are also delivering the bachelor's programs in each of our other locations, which is great, which has been one of our sort of strategic goals, to have each of the things we have in each of our locations. So that's fantastic. We also started our Advanced Diploma of Transpersonal Therapy. So we accredited that one in the last year and commenced delivery of that. So that's really exciting because people have got the opportunity to do a double diploma ostensibly in Diploma of Counselling and Diploma of Transpersonal Therapy, which is excellent. We believe in the value of providing qualifications that are sort of symbiotic with each other, where they both add value. So counselling and transpersonal therapy is great because people understand what counselling is if they don't necessarily understand fully what transpersonal therapy is. So that's great for people when they're going to employers because the employment market understand it. And then people get to learn skills that they value and cherish, but also have a qualification that others will recognise and value immediately. And we do the same thing with the mental health and AOD, or alcohol and other drugs. They obviously go hand in glove, and the youth work and youth justice. So that delivery of the double qualifications is going really well, and is really sort of economically worthwhile for students as well. So that's been a significant achievement commencing that. The bachelor's programs have been fantastic. The feedback we're getting is amazing. So we're getting great feedback from students. I think today I was in a staff meeting, as were you, and one of our team spoke about a student that is studying a master's at a mainstream university, and was describing how much more valuable the content that they're getting in our bachelor's is compared to their master's. So that's really encouraging here. I've also had feedback from students, also from industry and from academics. So a lot of our academics are involved in teaching and have been involved in teaching, lecturing at other universities, in other institutions, and they're providing great feedback and contribution. And we've also had industry professionals that are working in the sector describe how fantastic the content material is. So that's also really encouraging.
So Ikon has revolutionised education, and we do ensure that graduates have the necessary skills to move forward with rewarding careers as professionals in the mental health and wellbeing space. Can you tell us a little bit about how we'll be moving forward in 2019?
Yeah, I think the term revolution is really interesting for us when you describe Ikon, I guess revolutionising education. In a lot of ways I feel like that's not just a great turn of phrase, it's really accurate in the sense that it's a revolution in the sense that it's coming back around. It's also a revolution in the sense that it's disrupting and creating something new. So both sort of versions of that are good identifiers. The first version, when you look back at sort of a lot of the really old approaches, continental sort of approaches to education, they were about a discourse. And a person would share their thoughts and experiences and have a conversation, and that conversation would challenge a person's thinking and understanding and perspective and perception, and it would also elicit questions, They would share their knowledge and experience. So it was a bit master and apprentice, but it was a conversation, and that had all of the things that were valuable about a conversation, in that it can flow in different directions, it can bring in context and subjective experience, and it can be framed in the right place in the right time with the right people. So, there's real value in that, and it's relational. A lot of education is not like that anymore. People don't have an experience, their thinking isn't challenged, they're consuming sort of very like fast food franchise sort of models of education where it's all cookie cutter, made to be repeatable and exactly the same all the time, and we're all for reliability for sure, but at the same time you want professionals to be able to bring themselves to what they're teaching and inform it with their experience and expertise, and you want people to have an experience where they're challenged and they learn and that they acquire knowledge and skills, but they also are challenged to grow as individuals. And so I believe that our education has that. It has that element of causing a person to grow, not just as a professional but as a human being. And we think that the synergy between the growth of the person and the professional is what's incredibly valuable and often differentiates us. Not just our approaches, the types of material we teach, all of those things differentiate as well, but it's also the approach. One of our staff said that he thought that most people, when they conceived of a psychotherapeutic qualification and what that learning journey would be like, are often disappointed because it looks very different from what they have conceived of in their head. And he was saying that he thinks that that's what the Ikon qualification, in particular in this instance it was the Bachelor of Psychotherapy or Integrative Psychotherapy, and that ours is what they conceive of. But it's challenging sometimes actually helping people understand that it is what they are envisaging. So yeah, I think it's a revolution in that regard. I'm going on a little bit, I apologise, but it's also a revolution in the sense that we are disrupting what's being done and doing it differently. It's a revolution in the sense that we're focusing on what we think is really important and socially valuable. I think it's a revolution in the sense that we are merging traditional continental approaches to education with modern paradigms and technology. So we use flipped classroom methodologies, we use blended learning, we do a whole range of modern strategies, and we try and integrate lots of approaches and have people have an experience.
Absolutely. And in terms of 2019, how will we move forward as an organisation, and what sort of changes will we be implementing for the new year?
So 2019 is exciting in the sense that we will have all 3 years of our bachelors running concurrently, which is great. We'll have our first graduates from that program, so that's super exciting. We will have more of the courses in more of our locations, which is exciting. Because the bachelors have been taught in lots of locations by lots of people now, we've been able to do a fair bit of continuous improvement in their sort of second or third iteration, and what that means is that those subjects are much more cohesive and comprehensive and sequentially more mindful of each other. So the learning journey is improved, and the familiarity with the delivery of those is increased. So I think students will have a much more streamlined and easy to navigate journey, which I think it just makes it easier for their experience. We have got more electives that we're bringing into delivery, so they've been incredibly well received so far, and we're really excited about some of the new things that we're developing. We're also hoping to accredit 2 new higher education qualifications, which I won't say what they are yet, but they're similar to what we're doing in the sense that they build upon our area of expertise, but they're different, with different occupations in mind, but building upon our knowledge and understanding of how to work with people, because that's an incredibly transferable skill set. We're relational beings, so learning how to relate to each other is probably the most transferable skill set there is. Staffing is always really exciting, because and it's a really exciting thing about Ikon, because we're growing and we're developing. It means that we're able to hold on to the wonderful people that already work with us, and they're able to continue to contribute to the team. But it means we're also able to invite new people to join the team. And when we do that, it means that we really get to add a great deal of value to the organisation and to the community of learning that we're trying to build. And so it's that kind of 1 + 1 = 3, and that's what each new team member brings. So we've got at least 2 new academics starting in February, which is great. And we're also still in the process of recruiting for our head of higher education. That process has been slower than what I and others might have expected, but I think that's because we have the opportunity to be really careful and judicious and have the right person step into that role, which is a really important leadership role, because we have such a healthy, well-rounded academic team already. So that really helps us be able to be patient, which is often not possible for businesses, for institutions. So yeah, that's cool. I think the electives are exciting. I think those electives will be embryonic in the development of a whole new suite of things that Ikon's able to offer. I think that at the moment they're largely electives inside the qualifications, but I think increasingly they'll become important professional development pieces for other people, which then means that someone that's already a clinical psychologist or working as an art therapist or working in disability or in rehabilitation or a mental health nurse or schools, will be able to come in and study a program on traditional approaches, or working with Indigenous populations, or working with young people, or providing, group psychotherapy. Like, these sorts of things are really valuable to lots of people and lots of professions. So I think that we're going to see an expansion of that, and they might lead to larger streams of in our qualifications, which is exciting. What else is coming up in 2019? New quals, new subjects, strengthening locations, where there might be the opportunity that we might be moving in one of our sites. We're not sure at this stage, but we're continuing to grow, so there might be a need that we'll outgrow where we are. So that's actually in Queensland. We're kind of not quite bursting at the seams, but we're bulging a little. That's really exciting. We love where we are. We've been there for ages. It's our home, but there will be a need in the not too distant future to move into a larger premises, which is lots of work, but incredibly exciting. And each time we do that, it enables us to kind of leapfrog. So, one campus is the best, and then we move to the next one, and that's the best, and so that's always an exciting evolution or revolution for Ikon. I think that we've got some sort of strategic goals to be more engaged in project work, potentially more community engagement. We do lots of industry engagement and consultation, but we're interested in community engagement and support processes as well. We've been looking at whether or not we can provide a student clinic. That has a whole range of challenges associated with it, but we're trying to navigate how we can make that work. And if we're able to do that, that'd be awesome. And then maybe do some research associated with that, because we are very committed to contributing to the body of knowledge around these practices, which are often not they're well researched, but the breadth of data available can sometimes be limited, and because a lot of these approaches don't readily lend themselves to existing research methodologies. It's hard to do a double-blind randomized controlled trial of a therapeutic approach, because how do you give a false therapy? We're interested in contributing to research.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
We also have Open Days coming up in 2019. So we have our first Open Day in Sydney on the 12th of January.
12th of January, early. We're only just back.
Yes, I know. And then Mullumbimby on the 13th of January. Perth and Brisbane on the 19th of January. Adelaide and Melbourne on the 2nd of February.
Sounds busy.
Going to be very, very busy, and you'll be going to some of those.
Yeah, I'll be there for some of them. We've got those Open Days. Obviously, they're a really great opportunity for students or potential students to come and sort of check us out. I still love the fact that I love students that are able to look at the material, have a conversation or a series of conversations with us and be able to make that decision. But I also there's this kind of nostalgic part of myself that really likes the fact that there's still a lot of people that want to come and see the place and go, oh, yep, it's real, and get a feel for the energy of the people involved, and check that it's the right community for them. And so, the Open Days is a great opportunity to do that. And we often get people that come to Open Days that have already enrolled, that just want to come and say hi, which is cool too. The Open Days will be great, and it's the last chance that people will get to do that in the first half of the year. So
absolutely.
January is going to be busy.
Yes.
And February is going to be super busy, but in a really exciting way.
And as you say, I think people, when they come to an Open Day, get a sense of the camaraderie that really does exist at Ikon, among the staff, the academic teams and the students.
Yeah.
And we do have students, current students or graduates, speaking at our Open Days. So it's a great opportunity for people to speak to people that have lived the experience of studying with us.
Yep, and people that work in the industry, because all of our academics that present at them are working professionals. It's one of the things that differentiates us, the fact that all of our academics are walking their talk. Is that how you say it? They walk the walk, not just talk the talk. There you go. So they walk the walk, not just talk the talk. So, they masters and PhDs and all the academic knowledge and skills, but they're actively engaged in the sector that they're talking about. So they bring real experiences and they share some of that at the Open Day, which is great. And obviously, it's important to mention as well that after each of the Open Days, my understanding is that there's the group discussion processes that occur, which is sort of the final piece of the jigsaw of enrolling. So a lot of people can come and kill two birds with one stone, or maybe not kill birds, but they can get it done.
Absolutely. And just a reminder for everyone that our 2019 intakes, enrolment for those close on the 1st of February 2019. So now's the time to really find out more about any qualifications you might be interested in. Jump online to our website, ikoninstitute.edu.au, to register for an open day to find out more. People are more than welcome to enrol before they come, and then use the open day as an opportunity to connect with us one-on-one.
Totally. And I guess there's always the time pressure that we have at Ikon, because we use a trimester model, which means that our teaching year goes a little bit longer, which means we start a bit earlier. We think that's great, because instead of having lots of subjects for less time, we give each of the subjects more time and give people more time in their life while they're doing it, to really immerse themselves in each of the subjects. So instead of doing 4 or 6 subjects or 8 subjects a semester, they're doing 3 per trimester, which is it's longer per year, but it has a much more productive, I think, in terms of its pace and the depth that enables people to explore the subjects. Just means we've got to get our tails moving a little bit earlier. So,
well, thanks for joining us today, Brad.
No problems.
And we look forward to 2019.
Indeed, I'm pumped. Looking forward to the rest preceding it as well.